Hooty hoo, all my stock market gamblers. Welcome today. I'm Tall Mike. So glad you're here. Well, it's Friday. Made it to the end of the week. What's going on today? Well, today we got the Dow up about 70 points and NASDAQ up about 50 points. Now, so far the month of September, we've been coming down. We're down about 2%. 2%, not bad. Right now, I think we have farther to go down. But right now, I do think we're going to get a little bit of a bounce. We're sitting right on the 50-day moving average. Now, why do I think we're going to bounce from here? Because too many people are buying puts. Whenever the boat gets lopsided, one direction or the other, the boat starts to shift back. Right now, everybody's buying puts because they think the market's going to go in, and a lot of these puts are going to get squeezed out of the market with a 1 or 2 day rally. Now, that's what I think will happen before we head lower. Also, the junk bonds. Someone's out there buying these junk bonds. Now, junk bonds are of companies that are going to be going out of business soon. Their bonds pay a lot more interest, so people are in there buying these, and these are kind of going up. I'm not really sure why, but that usually leads the market, which tells me we're due for a little bit of a bounce from here. A little bit of a bounce up before we come back lower, down 2% so far for the month of September. I think we'll close the month much lower than we are now, but nothing goes straight down. I think we'll get a little bounce up. All right, let's get over to the real estate market. Now, it always amuses me, the headlines. Now, here's one headline that I agree with. Americans hate the idea of buying a home now. Well, yeah, I kind of think they would. You know, most people don't like to pay double what something's worth, right? So Americans right now are hating the idea of buying a home. Now, the chief economist from Fannie Mae, his name's Doug Duncan. Now, they took this poll, right? They took a survey, and 82% of Americans think that it is a bad time to buy a house. Now, when I look at this poll saying 82% of Americans think that it's a bad time, well, that means 18% think it's a good time. Now, who are these 18%? Well, of course, they're the Moon Boys, the people that watch Dave Ramsey's show, right? They think that it's a great time to buy. Of course, some of them would be real estate agents, wouldn't they? But right now, 82% of Americans, they say it's a bad time to buy. Now, reason it's a bad time to buy is because prices are up and interest rates have over doubled. They went from 3% to 7.5%, right? But everybody's locked in at the 2.8%. They have equity in the home. So now Doug Duncan, he says it's a very good place for people to be. He says it's good that they're stuck in their forever home, right? Their forever home is a home that they're never going to sell the rest of their life because they're locked in. They have equity, 2.8% interest rate. Now, the equity's going away. Now, the 2.8% they get to keep, but the equity's going to be going away. Now, there's also, in the same article, comes out with, well, this guy is the deputy chief economist. He's not the big chief. He's the deputy chief. Now, I don't even know what that means. I'm an economist. I didn't even know there was a deputy chief economist, but that's what he is. His name's Mark Palm, right? Now, he took this survey and he found out that 80% of people right now are not worried about losing their job. 80% not worried. Now, 20% are worried. 20% will probably lose their job, maybe even more than that, but this number will shift as we get into the recession. Now, people go, but Mike, we avoided the recession. We avoided it. There's no recession coming, and you may be right. My take is that we'll hit in the recession. We're hitting the recession very soon. You see, right now, there's a lot of systemic risk out there. Now, if the system goes down, believe me, your house, your area is going to go down with the rest of the areas. Now, I know your area only goes up, but if there's a systemic break, and there's a lot of systemic risk right now, where the system goes down, the whole system now, this real estate bubble is a worldwide problem, worldwide. And right now, China, for example, they've got a problem. Their real estate's down 9%. But Mike, 9% is nothing. The U.S. is down 9%. I'm talking about 9% in a month. In a month. Now, if it continues that pace of dropping 9% a month, let's say it drops 9% a month for 5 or 6 months, it's half off. Well, but Mike, that's China. That could never happen in the U.S. The U.S., we have the reserve currency. We could never have a crash here. I think you're wrong on that. My take is we're going to come down by another 30 to 40% from where we're at now. But a lot of people don't believe this. The boys don't believe this. A lot of people like the real estate agents. Now this cracks me up. All right, I got to get this right. Okay, so the real estate agents, this is what they're telling us to go out and tell our clients. They're telling us to tell our clients to hurry up and buy now. And the reason that you want to buy now is look it. If rates go higher, you're going to be so happy that you bought now at these low rates of 7.5%. So when rates get above 10%, you're going to be so happy to be locked in at 7.5%. Now, if rates go down, of course you can go out and refinance. So it's a win-win situation for you if you buy now, no matter what direction rates go. Now, that's not my take at all. That's what they're telling us to go out and tell our clients. I can't believe it. Okay, but that's not my take. My take is we're in a lose-lose situation. Look, you go out and you buy now and rates go up, the price of your home's going to go down. You'd much rather buy a home at a lower cost, even though the rate's higher, you'd rather have it at a lower cost because that's going to be your tax base. That's going to be locked in forever. Now, maybe rates do come down, but when they do come down, it's going to be for a reason. Yes, the Fed could pivot. The reason they're going to be dropping rates, the reason they're going to be pivoting is because something breaks in the economy. Something breaks in the system. Something will be bringing the markets down, and then the Fed will pivot, but your house will also go down with it. You see, the Fed's going to pivot when something goes wrong. And what I think is going to go wrong is the banking crisis. We're in the middle of this financial crisis right now. Nobody's talking about it. Mainstream media has blown this off. The banking system, it's all fixed, right? Well, the Fed has just issued private warnings to the mid-sized banks. Now, I don't know why they're picking on the mid-sized banks. The big banks are in trouble. The little banks are in trouble. The mid-sized banks are in trouble. They're all in trouble. The FDIC, this isn't me talking. This is the FDIC. They came out and said that banks are showing signs of stress. Well, yes, they are. Yes, they are. You see, there's this quiet revolution going on where people are quietly pulling their money out of the banks at a very record pace. The banks have already lost $1 trillion in deposits. They'll probably lose another trillion, but they can't afford to lose anymore. Look they've already lost your money. We talked about this in the last video where they're running the Ponzi scheme, trying to get new money in as fast as they can. They'll offer you 5.5%. I bet by next month that'll be up to 6% interest rate just to bring your money into the bank because they were out of money. They've lost your money. Look there's other things in the system that are showing signs of breaking. The jobs reports, they report that we create all these jobs, right? But then the next month they revise it down. They say we create 200,000, then they cut it by 100,000. How can they be off by 100,000? They're obviously doctoring the number because when the jobs report comes out, that's what everybody looks at. They don't look at when they revise it. So the game they've been playing for the last 8 or 9 months is to report all these jobs were created and then come out a month later and revise that one and then say we beat the number again, then revise it downward. This is a game they're playing. Look they're doctoring the inflation numbers. The inflation numbers, they're being doctored, right? If they reported the way they did back in the 70s and the 80s, inflation would be twice as high as it is now. It wouldn't be at this 4% number they're giving us. It'd be up at 8, 10, 12%. But they have to doctor the numbers. Look the system has problems. The system could come down and a lot of people are going to be hurt by this. The American dream of owning a home, everybody's dream, right? To own the home. Look I love real estate. I believe in it. I'm just telling you now is a bad time. Now is a bad time to buy. A lot of people are going to get destroyed. House market's going to come down. It's going to get destroyed because the system's breaking down, because it's a bad time to buy because prices are high when rates have just tripled. Now, why didn't the prices come down? That I'm really not sure about. Maybe the market's that strong, right? Maybe there's that demand. Look, do you think that prices would come down if we went from 7.5% where we are now to 15%? Well, of course they'd come down, right? Well, then if you agree with that, why would you go out and buy right now? Look at real estate, the pace of home sales is at a 30-year low, right? I mean, you got to go back to, well, it's the lowest since 2010, right? 2010, I think, is where it's at right now. Now, what was going on in 2010? Well, it was the great financial crisis. So the pace has slowed down, but the prices haven't come down to match the pace. It will. It's playing out. It's taking time, and just be patient. If you're patient, you'll be rewarded. You go out and buy right now, I believe you will be the bag holder. Okay, that's just my take. Your take, maybe we're going straight up, and that's possible. I just don't see it that way. I don't see it that way. Now, a lot of people talk about this thing called the great wealth transfer. What does that mean? What is the transferring of wealth really mean? I mean, how's it going to be transferred? How's it going to be transferred to you, let's say? All right, from someone else, the wealth is going to be transferred. Well, what happens is we have these bubbles, right? We have these bubbles, and right now I believe the stock market still in a bubble. I believe the housing market is in the biggest bubble in the history of the world, the real estate market in general. Biggest bubble we've ever created, right? Now, these are bubbles. The stock market's a bubble. The housing market's a bubble. But how does the wealth get transferred? Well, it gets transferred when you do not buy these bubbles, right? You do not buy these bubbles. You buy things that are not in a bubble. The things that are not in a bubble. Right now, the best asset I can tell you that is not in a bubble right now is silver. Okay, silver is not in a bubble right now. It's selling for less than half the price it was selling for in 1980. You find me another hard asset like that that's selling for half the price it sold for in 1980, I will be buying that asset. But there's no other asset like that on the planet. Right now, silver is not in a bubble. So, okay, so instead of taking your money and you go buy a house right now, you take your money and you put it into silver. But Mike, I don't have that much money. Look, you can get an ounce of silver, $25. If you avoid Starbucks a few times, you got an ounce of silver. Anybody can stack silver. And right now, silver is very cheap. And what's going to happen is when the shift comes, when the wealth gets transferred, you're going to see the house prices going like this straight down. You're going to be seeing the cost of silver going straight up, right? Now, right now, the average house is $400,000. $400,000 is a lot of money, right? Okay, it would take you 16,000 ounces of silver to go out and buy that $400,000 house. You can do simple math on that. $25 is the number I took. Silver is actually at $23, but to get a physical ounce in your hand, it's about $25. All right, times 16,000 gets you 400,000, right? All right, here's what I believe, and here's what a lot of people will tell me I'm crazy about this, but I think you're going to be able to buy a house with 500 ounces of silver. 500 ounces. Right now it takes 16,000, so 500 ounces. All right, so that's 32 times your money. If you're out there stacking silver right now, when the great reset happens, when the wealth transfer happens, that price of the house is going to come down. Silver is going to skyrocket up, and you take your 500 ounces, convert it into cash, go buy that house. That is how a wealth transfer works. That's what they mean when they say, look, it's going to be the biggest wealth transfer in the history of the world when it finally plays out. Now, I agree it's not playing out right now. Right now, stock market, oh, it's up there. It's up there. It wants to hit a new record. House prices, oh, it wants to get to the price Billy Bob got out at. It wants to hit a new record. It wants to prove that Billy Bob was an idiot. Billy Bob should have never sold. He should have held on with both hands, and he would be a much richer man. I think Billy Bob's a genius. I think he did the right thing. But when this wealth transfer happens, and you will know when it's happening because it'll feel like the world's falling apart, the system will be breaking down. The banking system will be breaking down. And there's a quiet revolution right now. People pulling their money out of the bank. They're they're putting it into gold and silver. And I think silver is a much better play than gold. There's a ratio, and you can Google these things. There's a ratio between gold and silver that's normal. Normal's about 30 to 1, 15 to 1 would be really good. We're up about 80 to 1 right now. So these ratios will shift. So silver is the better buy here. Silver is a better buy than gold at these prices. Gold's about 1900. Now, I'm not saying don't buy gold. You want to have both if you can, if you're wealthy. If you're not wealthy, just stack a little bit of silver. Look at, what if I'm wrong? What if I'm wrong? Oh my God, Mike was wrong. I got 500 ounces of silver. Oh, it's just terrible, just terrible, just terrible. Look at, not much bad can really happen there, right? Okay, now what if I'm right? What if I'm right? Oh, I got 500 ounces of silver that I can convert to cash and go buy the average price home right now. Now, wouldn't that be cool? That'd be cool. That's what I think is going to happen. Everybody will tell you I'm crazy. Those moon boys will tell you I'm crazy. Well, if they're a moon boy in the silver market, they'll actually like that idea. This is just my take on things. This is just what I believe. If you like this stuff, give me the thumbs up. Why not? It's Friday, everybody. Get out there, punch that subscribe button. First, it's the weekend. Have a great weekend, everybody. I want to talk to you again next week. Bye-bye now.